News Nation. Sean Diddy, Combs' former head of security, Roger Bonds, says his ex-boss flew women across state lines for parties and invited men he'd never seen before into the hotel rooms. Bonds worked for Diddy as his head of security for more than a decade, from 2003 to 2012, and was with him almost 24/7 during that time. He's named in Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassandra Cassie Ventura's lawsuit as the man who saved her life. There's definitely times that he was abusive physically, Bonds said during an appearance on News Nation's Cuomo. Diddy and Ventura were at a dinner and she was talking to a manager. He got very upset about that and got very abusive that day. I grabbed him and said, "What are you doing?" Some of the damage was already done. In Ventura's lawsuit, the singer claims that Diddy supplied her with drugs, beat her, forced her to sleep with male prostitutes while filming her and forced his way into her home and raped her. Bonds said he doesn't know exactly what Diddy was doing in hotel rooms. I have seen people that I haven't ever seen in my life. Guys that I've never seen before go into a hotel room with them, Diddy and Ventura, and I know that only they was in the room. What actually went on, or if they were forced to do it, or how much they got paid, I didn't know about that. It's been more than a month since two homes belonging to Diddy were raided by federal investigators, and law enforcement has released few details as to potential charges the music producer could be facing. Department of Homeland Security agents conducted the raids March 25 at Combs' multi-million-dollar mansion in Los Angeles and his Miami waterfront home. The raids came as the producer faces a mounting list of civil lawsuits that allege abuse and sexual assault by multiple victims spanning over 30 years. Combs has denied all the allegations.
I don't believe that to be true.
That's the allegation. Cassidy makes that allegation in part also, what she refers to as a freak-off, which is where Combs would make her have sex with other men. And then that allegation was expanded in some of these other reports that we've seen of, yeah, that's what he does. He would get women and make them have sex with other men, and that he would get drugs and traffic them, meaning bring them in for sale and use by other people.
Well, on that aspect, I'm going to say I don't know what he does actually in the bedroom. I've never actually witnessed anything like that. But I have seen people that I haven't ever seen in my life, guys that I've never seen before, go into a hotel room with them. And I know that only they was in the room. Nobody else was in the room. But what actually went on, or if they was forced to do it, or how much they got paid, I didn't know about that. But I definitely did see people go into private places where him and Cassie was at.
Do people who know the realities think Combs is going to get hooked on at least some of these charges? And why do you think his friends aren't coming forward to defend him?
Well, I think a lot of things that he's being charged with, a lot of things that he's being accused with is the norm. You know, I think that's part of Hollywood. I think that's a rich culture. And I think a lot of them is scared to come forward because this is what they've been doing for the last 10, 20, 30 years, as if it's just a regular thing. And by Cassie speaking up and finally standing up for what I feel she should have did a long time ago, it's given a lot of people courage to speak up on the things that they thought was the
things that they thought were the norms at that time. And Diddy's so-called friends are not coming forward because guess what? They're probably in some of those freak-off tapes and videos, so they don't want to implicate themselves.
There is there, that there is substance to what we're hearing about Combs being involved in these heavy criminal activities.
I believe some of the things, I think some of it is a little far-fetched, but I think some of it is definitely true.
Now, when we get into what the sum is, you are in the lawsuit as saying, in the car leaving the club, you know that Mr. Combs physically abused his girlfriend, putting hands on her way over the line, that you tried to stop it, but you couldn't. Is that all accurate?
Now, the above picture of Cassie might be from another beating, but I just wanted to highlight the picture to show the type of beating that this woman suffered. And everyone in P. Diddy's circle knew that he was beating her to this extent. So none of the people who has come out and talked about the beatings that she suffered are heroes in my book because they did nothing to stop it. They said, oh, we knew about it, but what did you do to stop it?
Yes, that's accurate.
And help the audience understand what you know was going on there.
Well, there's definitely times that he was very abusive argumentatively. He was very abusive physically. You know, that particular time that Cassie is talking about, they were at a dinner or a gathering on Sunset Boulevard. And Cassie was talking to a manager, and he got very upset about that. You know, he didn't want her talking to any other managers or doing anything without his say-so. And he got very abusive that day, and I jumped out the car, and I ran up on him, and I grabbed him, and I was thinking, what are you doing? Do you see where we at? Like, what's going on? And he got inside the car once I grabbed him up, and he realized the way he was at. But some of the damage was done already, and I put her inside the car, too.
So here's the problem, folks. Cassie said he saved her that day. He said that, yes, he did, so he's coming off like a hero. But in my eye, he's not really the hero because he put her in the same car with Diddy. Because he said he put him in the car and then he put her in the car also. Now, there's only one car. So guess what? If he's doing the driving, guess who is getting beaten in the back seat?
Idea that he would be involved in running drugs, running women for the enjoyment of others. Did you see anything like that? Did you hear anything like that?
Well, I don't think when they say running for others, I don't particularly believe that. You know, at the end of the day, he's Sean Combs, he's Diddy. You know, a lot of the things that they accuse him with, I feel falls under different kind of jurisdictions. You know, it's been plenty times we've been out the country. We've been in other cities, other states where you meet people at parties, you dance, you party, they go back to the hotel. And he has a private jet. So he says, hey, you want to come to New York? You want to come to LA for a week or two? And they get on the jet, and for a week or two, they might be there. And then he'll tell the assistant, okay, fly him back. If that falls under sex trafficking, then yes. But as far as like physically sex trafficking and making someone go somewhere, I don't believe that to be true.
That's the allegation. Cassidy makes that allegation in part also what she refers to as a freak-off, which is where Combs would make her have sex with other men. And then that allegation was expanded in some of these other reports that we've seen of, yeah, that's what he does. He would get women and make them have sex with other men, and that he would get drugs and traffic them, meaning bring them in for sale and use by other people.
Well, on that aspect, I'm going to say I don't know what he does actually in the bedroom. I've never actually witnessed anything like that. But I have seen people that I haven't ever seen in my life, guys that I've never seen before, go into a hotel room with them. And I know that only they was in the room. Nobody else was in the room. But what actually went on, or if they was forced to do it, or how much they got paid, I didn't know about that. But I definitely did see people go into private places where him and Cassie was at.
Do people who know the realities think Combs is going to get hooked on at least some of these charges? And why do you think his friends aren't coming forward to defend him?
Well, I think a lot of things that he's being charged with, a lot of things that he's being accused with is the norm. You know, I think that's part of Hollywood. I think that's a rich culture. And I think a lot of them is scared to come forward because this is what they've been doing for the last 10, 20, 30 years as if it's just a regular thing. And by Cassie speaking up and finally standing up for what I feel she should have did a long time ago, it's given a lot of people courage to speak up on the things that they thought was the...
Speak up on the things they thought were the norm. And I guess for folks that are regular like myself, we can't articulate or even conceptualize what these rich folks do. They do some very deviant things that they look at as normal, like a lot of FOs. And we look at it as, oh my God, it's freaky. But this is what they do. When you have a lot of money, you have nothing to do with your money. You do not put it towards constructive things, and you have this devious, twisted mind, you're going to put your money towards those things. Now, a lot of people are not speaking out because a lot of people who were in these FO parties, if they speak out, they're going to implicate themselves because everybody's going to say, well, how do you know what went on in those parties? Because you got to be there, right? And if you hear word of mouth, then you really can't repeat it because it's just hearsay. But if you know for sure, then you were there, then you implicate yourself. So a lot of people are quiet. They ain't foolish. They ain't coming out and say, yes, I know for a fact. Because we would say, well, how do you know? You probably were there. And a lot of people are playing naive because they know if they admit certain things, like Roger Bond. He said, well, he don't know for sure when he saw these men going in and out and they were in the room with Diddy and Cassie, but he don't know for sure what happened, if the men were paid or what went on. Come on, you're a grown adult, you put in 2 and 2 together now. 2 and 2 is making 4, okay? If you see a bunch of guys rotating, going in and out, different faces, different times, and then the bedroom, and Diddy is in there with Cassie, come on now. You were born probably at night, but not last night, so you know better as an adult. You can connect the dots. Folks don't have to spell it out. Even I know that if I see a bunch of guys rotating in and out of a bedroom and Diddy and Cassie in there, I would put it together and say, some freak-offs are going on in there. Some freaky-dicky, okay? So they know what's went on, but they don't want to say. They're playing coy and naive. And I'm sure P. Diddy, being the boastful character that he is, I'm sure he dropped it with his boys and told them, oh, I did this, I did that, I did the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. I'm sure they got an earful, but don't want to repeat it because guess what? If he told them what he did to Cassie, then it would be incumbent upon them to report it to law officials because you cannot have this young girl being abused to this extent and not do anything about it and beating her to a pulp on a regular and you don't report it, then they would implicate themselves of being spectators and not doers or not taking action to help this young girl. And they would be looking like if they were just scumbags. And they don't want that. So guess what? They're going to plead the fifth. Oh, we don't know what went on. Oh, I don't know. I didn't see, I didn't hear, I didn't heard. I'm getting back to a lot of people are saying, well, how come his friends are not coming out and saying anything? What can they come out and say? How can you defend the indefendable? It's blatant what went on. So who's going to come out and defend that? Please. So I think folks who are calling for his friends to come forward and defend him are being ridiculous. How do you defend somebody who's accused of sex trafficking? What you going to say? Oh, he didn't traffic anybody when the evidence is there on video? How can you defend when people say, oh, he went to the store and bought these big black, the D word, and he told Cassie to choose the biggest one? How do you defend that? The store's got receipt from way back when, and Cassie's got her receipts in her phone because everything was videotaped, according to Cassie. How do you defend those things? And all these male prostitutes who are going to come forward and say, yes, I was there. Yes, I did that. Yes, he paid me. How do you defend what don't need defending? It's blatant. So you guys lay off of his so-called friends. Mom's the word. I can't blame them. Who going to implicate themselves in this mess? Anyway, guys, Roger Bond was interviewing with Cuomo and he admitted P. Diddy trafficking. Now, he didn't say young girls, but the lawsuit by Rogers does say young girls were involved in trafficking. The way he put it, it amounted to the same thing. He said, well, he didn't actually traffic. What he would do, since he's got a private jet, he would say, okay, let's fly to New York and party there. And everybody would get aboard the plane and go party there. And if there were any young girls on that plane, guess what's that considered? Trafficking. Because if you're going to put a young girl on your plane and take that young girl to a different state, and then you have intercourse with that young girl, and you have your friends having intercourse with that young girl, and then you fly her back home to a different state, yes, that's considered trafficking. This kind of reminded me of Mark Curry when he was explaining that Diddy was spiking drinks and directing his staff to spike the drinks with drugs and give it to the young girls. And he said, well, we thought it was okay at that time. And I said, yeah, go ahead and tell on yourself, because all of you were in on it and did not help these poor young girls. And as far as P. Diddy calling himself bad boy for life, well, bad boy for life or coward for life? Because when you beat up on an innocent young girl or a young lady or a young woman, and that goes for all of you guys out there, you beating up on these women does not make you big, bad, and bold. It makes you nothing more than a coward. Anyway, guys, you can weigh in on this. I'm over and out. I'll catch you all in the next one. Don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.
As you leave the page, don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you.